Hello everyone, my name is Samuel Esung and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the first video in our Kubernetes series and we will be looking at what Kubernetes is, why we use Kubernetes, then we'll also look at the exact problem it solves after Docker. But before we proceed, please, if you are yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do well to subscribe to my channel, like and comment on this video. You can also share this video with your friends. Thank you. So let us get right to it. So far in this series, we have learned how to build images. We've learned how to run containers. We have also seen how to run a full-fledged three-tier application on Docker. So we have already seen how easy it is to run something like Docker run. And we have also seen how easy it is to do Docker compose. But then, let me ask us a very honest question. What happens when your application is no longer just one container on your laptop? Or what happens when it must run on multiple servers? What happens when your containers must have multiple copies? What happens when your containers must have zero tolerance, or your application must have zero tolerance for downtime? Alright, so this is why this video is very important. Alright, so Kubernetes is a system that helps you run and manage containers automatically across many machines. Not one machine, not two containers, many machines and many containers. Alright, so let me say this in a very clear sentence for us. So Kubernetes is a platform that runs your containerized applications and manage them for you. Now, I know most of us already know container because we have used Docker, all right? So we saw how Docker helped us solve one very big problem, which was it works on my machine problem. All right, so we package our application and its dependencies into a container and we can run it anywhere. So this is perfect. But Docker alone does not answer this question. It does not answer who decides where the container runs. Docker does not answer how many copies should run. Docker does not also answer what happens when one container crashes and what happens when the server itself, that is the server hosting the containers, dies. Docker can run containers, but Kubernetes manages containers. So this is the very first mindset shift you should understand. Now, when we're running our back-end container and a database container in our last capstone project, we had to manually start the front-end container. We also had to manually start the back-end container. We also had to manually expose spots, all right? And sometimes restart containers when something broke. Now imagine this in production. Instead of 2 containers, we are having 50 containers. Instead of just one host server, we are having 10 servers. Now you cannot manage this manually. So this is where Kubernetes becomes the control system. So inside Kubernetes, you don't say, run this container on server A. Instead, with Kubernetes, you simply say, I want this application to be running. So now Kubernetes figures out where to run. It also figures how to keep it running. It also figures how to replace it when something fails. So understand that Kubernetes is not your application, Kubernetes is not your container, but Kubernetes is the platform that manages your container. So many beginners think that Kubernetes is a replacement for Docker, but it is not. Kubernetes and Docker work together, all right? Docker builds images. Kubernetes runs those images at scale. So this is very simple. Docker builds the images. And Kubernetes runs the images at scale. So just for you to know, Kubernetes is often written as care 8. All right. So nothing really matters more. Now we have care, and we also have 8 letters in between S. That is from U to S. From U to S, we have 8 letters, then the care and the S. All right. So it is really nothing more than this. So it's more like care, 8 letters, then S. So let us look at why Kubernetes is very important. Why do we even need Kubernetes? So let me use a very simple scenario we already understand. You deploy a backend application. At first, only one container runs. That is, you have only few users. All right, everything is fine, but later on, more users come, traffic increases, and suddenly your container becomes very slow. So what do? You go ahead to start up another container. Now you have 2 containers. Then you keep on adding containers, 3 containers, 5 containers. Now another problem starts. You have the problem of which container should the user talk to? What happens if one container dies? What happens if one server crashes? So this is where Kubernetes become extremely powerful. So Kubernetes gives you these capabilities. First of all, Kubernetes gives you the automatic scheduling capacity. All right. So you don't pick servers. Kubernetes picks where your container should run. You only describe what you want. Kubernetes also have the self-healing features, or feature rather. Now, this particular feature is very important. What it means is that if a container crashes, Kubernetes automatically creates another container for you. All right. If a node disappears or if a node dies, Kubernetes moves your workload to another healthy node. All right. Most of the times you do not log in and fix it manually. So this is one of the biggest strengths and benefits of using Kubernetes. Then another important feature is easy scaling. Instead of running commands and creating containers yourself, you can simply tell Kubernetes, I want 5 copies of this application. Then you can also say, I want, maybe later on, you can say, I want 10 copies of this application, and Kubernetes handles your deployment for you. Another important feature is the rolling updates feature. Now, how do you update your application without shutting it down completely? All right. So Kubernetes updates containers gradually. The old one goes away and the new one comes up. All right. And users keeps using your app. Hence, no downtime. So another important thing is that Kubernetes has a built-in networking between services. So when we were running our Docker containers, we were already struggling with front end reaching the back end reaching the database, and so on and so forth. But Kubernetes gives you a built-in way for services to find each other without you managing IP addresses manually. All right. So later in the series, we are going to clearly see how this work together. Now, another important concept is the declarative model. So this is one very important and very different from, this one is very important and it is very different from how we have been working. All right. In Kubernetes, you don't say do this, then do that, then do that. All right. But you simply say, this is how I want my system to look. All right. Kubernetes continuously works to make reality match what you declared. So this is a very huge mindset shift. Now, Kubernetes is everywhere because it became the standard way of running containers, especially in production. So big companies use Kubernetes, even small startups use Kubernetes. Kubernetes came originally from ideas developed at Google. All right. And today it is supported and used across major cloud platforms like Amazon, Microsoft. And this should already tell you that, or this should already tell you how important this tool is for your career, especially as a DevOps engineer. So Docker solved packaging, but Docker did not solve operations. All right. Docker solved packaging, but Docker did not solve operation. So Kubernetes is really not about writing YAML files. All right. On the surface, it is more deeper than writing YAML files. So we can simply say that Kubernetes is about managing systems. All right. So today we have answered 3 questions. We've looked at what Kubernetes is. We've also seen why Kubernetes exists. And we've also seen what problems Kubernetes solves after Docker. So in the next video, we are going to look at Kubernetes architecture. All right. Then if you understand today's class properly or today's video properly, everything that follows will make sense. Because if you skip this foundation, then managing your Kubernetes cluster will become confusing. All right, so take your time with this video, replay this video, and make sure you clearly understand that Kubernetes manages containers at scale. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Please like and comment on this video. You can also share this video with your friends. I'll see you in the next video.